Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to another edition of NBC's 10 Count. I'm Steve Fall, but on today's edition, I am talking to one of my favorite women's wrestlers, Taya Valkyrie. How are you doing today?
What's up, guys? Taya Valkyrie, La Güera Loca. I'm excited to be here.
I am so happy you're here because it seems like you're a world traveler. Everywhere you go, you make an impact. That's not a joke about Impact Wrestling, though.
No pun intended. Yeah.
But seriously, like everywhere you go, traveling around the world, you're on the posters right in the front. Now, how does that make you feel when a company calls you up and says, like, hey, we want you to be on our show, but yet they don't just want you to be on the show. They kind of want you to be the show.
I mean, it feels great. It just, it's reassurance that all the hard work and all the time and passion and dedication I've put into this industry is making an impact, and so I'm happy to be traveling around the world and doing different stuff and getting to wrestle, some dream matches. There's still a bunch that I still have on my list of people I would like to wrestle, and just kind of, being the Carmen Sandiego of pro wrestling.
Tell me, sing it. Where in the world is Taya Valkyrie?
I'm really enjoying your La Parka mask right now.
Thank you. I got that on my honeymoon 9 years ago.
Yeah.
I was in Mexico for my honeymoon, and I was like, I need a luchador mask. Like, I needed it, and obviously here it is still to this day with I guess Al Snow's mannequin head underneath it.
Perfect.
And NWA 74 on night one, you're the number one contender for the women's championship belt. Now, this has got to be something huge for you because NWA has been around for so long. The lineage, yes. And now the opportunity to become the women's champion. That's got to be huge for you.
The NWA Women's Championship has been held by, like you said, absolute legends and people who have really paved the way for what you're seeing now in the world of women's wrestling, in professional wrestling. So to be in the conversation, to be now the number one contender and to be able to face Camille at NWA 74 is just a really cool new thing, that I get to accomplish and do. And, I have all the confidence in the world that I'll be coming out the new NWA Women's Champion.
Outstanding. Now, I mentioned that everyone seems to be grabbing for you and putting you on shows, but do you feel that maybe the wrestling world, the bubble, is sometimes underappreciates you? Because again, you're doing so much, having so many great matches, but it's like sometimes there are other people who show up and maybe push you to the side a little bit. Like, do you feel underappreciated sometimes?
I mean, I definitely think that especially over the last 6 months, I'm in like a really good space mentally and in performance wise, and just like my confidence and just knowing my worth and knowing what I bring to the table. So I don't necessarily feel that in the world of pro wrestling I feel very appreciated by all these companies that have allowed me to work with them, from Impact Wrestling to NWA to MLW to Lucha Libre AAA to everything, if anything, I feel like across the board, as far as my fellow wrestlers will say, I feel like sometimes the fans are a little underappreciative and rude, but that also comes with the territory. You cannot make everybody happy. Not everybody's gonna, I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay with me. So I'm just moving forward and just thinking about myself and achieving my goals. And one of those goals is going to be getting the NWA Women's Championship at NWA 74.
I'm excited for that. And but recently on NWA, they also announced a secondary women's championship belt, the TV championship. Now, You are currently the Knockout Tag Team champion in Impact Wrestling, but at the same time, do you feel like secondary women's championships should be more prominent in all the companies versus tag team titles? Because at the same time, tag team takes 4 people, television championship takes 2 people one-on-one. So it's very mixed.
Yeah, I feel like if the roster is deep enough, which it is at NWA, I mean, there are so many fabulous women wrestlers that need the opportunity that are clawing their way to the top to get recognition. So I think this is just another opportunity for a woman to do that. And in the world of wrestling, there are several men's championships. So I think 100% there should be opportunities for more women to be champions and to prove that they belong.
You make a really good point, because I think I'll bring up, other federations, but like the WWE, for instance, everyone's like, oh, look, they have 2 women's matches. Yay. And it's like, well, yeah, but there's 6 other men's matches. So like, don't you it should be even in my book? So obviously you agree that if you have 4 men's matches to be 4 women's matches.
We have come so far over the last, decade or two in this industry, and women are proving that we can main event pay-per-views, we can main event television shows, that we can draw, that we make money, and that we are badasses. And I feel like we should be given the opportunity just like anyone else. If I'm doing the same amount of work, if I'm busting my ass, to get that recognition, just like a guy would be, why can't I get that level of recognition as well?
Is it perception from the past that people sometimes hold on to once was, and they're like, oh, well, women, we can have 1 match. That's fine. We'll give them that. But it's like you just mentioned, they're making money. They're selling out arenas. They're main eventing all types of events, from WrestleManias to pay-per-views to house shows. It's nothing like, oh, well, we'll give them 1. Like, no, they've earned that right.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. And I don't know. And I just, like I said, like how some people are like, don't like, I'm not someone's cup of tea. Maybe some people are still super close-minded as to what women's wrestling is, but women's wrestling is wrestling. It's the same thing. We are pro athletes. We are performers. We are doing all the stunts. We are going through tables and taking the tacks to the face and diving onto people and off of domes and we're doing everything. We are well versed in every style. And I know that we deserve that spot.
Right. And obviously, I think a lot of people agree with you. Unfortunately, there seems to be like this guard still. It's like holding on to the old days of like, oh, well, yeah, we can give them that, but we won't give them too much. Like if you give them too much, then they'll have it forever. I guess it's the perception. I think it's definitely like the old guard. It's an old way of thinking. And we are in 2022, coming up on 2023. And come on, man, like we deserve the recognition and the spots and the time. And we've been proving it. So, yeah. So what's your relationship with Rosemary outside of wrestling in general, as like a friend, a colleague? Because you guys obviously have so much history in Impact Wrestling, but then once you left and, you went to WWE, no longer are you rubbing shoulders with Rosemary every couple of weeks doing taping. So like, what's your relationship actually like with
Well, I mean, I did try to murder her fiance. No, it was hard to make phone calls from jail. No. Honestly, I feel this as a whole for like the entire Impact Wrestling Knockouts locker room. I mean, the locker room in general. Even when I was away, we all stayed friends. We've all been friends this entire time, and they would FaceTime me and would talk. We would talk all the time, and it's just continued to be that way. I look at a performer such as Rosemary as such a creative genius, and me and her play so well off each other, and I'm so happy to be tag champions with someone who really pushes me creatively, who really is there, to have these crazy, passionate moments for the fans and bring something different to the table. And that's something that Impact's done so well, is really create characters. I love a good character.
Yeah.
And they do that so well with just their backstage segments, how they allow us to express ourselves creatively, how they listen to our ideas, and how they really just want to see us thrive. And so, Rosemary is one of the top, if not the top, creative characters that I've ever, gotten to work with.
Of course. Yeah. Her entrance alone is just,
I get to do it with her now too. Yeah.
But I do love Rosemary so much. I think you two do play off each other very well. I always go back to Wrestle House on Impact Wrestling during the height of the pandemic. First of all, do you believe Wrestle House was created to separate the roster during a time of, unprecedented? We didn't know the pandemic, COVID. Was it, let's split up half the people and half will go do this and half will stay in the ring? Because Wrestle House wrestlers didn't show up on TV wrestling for, it felt like months.
Well, you're actually wrong. We did wrestle in Wrestle House.
A couple times. Outside.
There were matches involved in Wrestle House. I don't think it had anything to do, as far as I'm concerned, with separating anybody. I just think it was, who fits this really funky, cool idea the best and who doesn't. And, it was super fun and crazy time in the world. But also just, it was a very fun experience to be doing something so different. I love having an acting challenge. I'm been in movies and done TV and done all sorts of other things also outside of wrestling. So for me to be able to do that and have my kind of worlds and my passions blend together is always fun. I
know you mentioned things you used to do. Classically trained ballerina?
Yeah.
Fitness competitions.
Yeah.
Trained by Lance Storm as a wrestler. Like these are all things. First of all, it's because of the ballerina part, because that's gotta bring in some of your skills from being a ballerina to a professional wrestler, correct?
100%. And I hate that expression that people use, like, this isn't ballet. I'm like, have you tried ballet?
I don't want to. I don't like. The only thing I can think of is tippy toes, and I can't. Yeah, I can't tippy toe.
This teaching style is very strict. It gave me, as a kid, it taught me how to have great work ethic and how to, strive to be the best and win competitions and do all this kind of stuff and performance. Like, I've just been in love with performing since I was 3, so 100% I've brought a lot of that, aspects of my life into professional wrestling. I think it's great. It taught me, just like I said, how to work hard, how to be the best, and to just continually strive to achieve new goals. And I think I've continued to do that now.
So what's the difference between training to become a professional wrestler versus training to become, a classically trained ballerina? Because they're both obviously very difficult.
It's a lot of sweat, a lot of tears, a lot of pain, both on both ends.
Oh God.
But it's like, you have to be crazy to be an artist. And I just feel like, there's a reason they call me La Güera Loca. Like, I'm a little nuts. So here we are. I've strived to achieve some pretty crazy goals and dreams. And I think I've done that. And it all started with dance, and then in fitness, and then in other goals, and then into professional wrestling. So it's really cool to think about that. And I can always remember training with Lance Storm, and at first he was like, stop pointing your toes when you're taking moves. But it was like this ingrained thing in my head. I don't know, but there's definitely crossover for sure.
I did read a very interesting story about you, Shad Gaspar, a man who sacrificed his life for his child, what a wonderful man he is. But he is connected to you with wrestling because I believe the story goes, he saw you as a bartender dressed as John Cena.
Yeah.
And and he saw something in you there. So tell the story.
So I'd been competing in fitness for a really long time, and I had already actually, had like the idea of being a wrestler and everything like that. And it was like a month before, or a few weeks, I should say, before Canadian Nationals. I ended up winning those Canadian National fitness competition. And then I was like really lean, super spray tanned, like dressed like a female John Cena, and I don't even remember if it was just like a live event or something was in Calgary, and they ended up coming into where I worked. And we were having wrestling night theme because WWE was in town. Yeah. And my manager knew that I was like always talking about I wanted to be a wrestler. And so he like brought them directly to me. And Shad was like, you look like a wrestler. You want to be a wrestler? Like, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes, but I don't know how I'm going to be a wrestler. Like, it was just like this weird coincidental thing. And then I was also working as a personal trainer. See, I'm a Jill of all trades over here. I was working as a personal trainer. And so the next day, like, they all came to Gold's Gym where I worked, and I got them in for free and whatever. But I remember Chad asked me for like 8x10s of me, or like something that he could hand to like talent relations. Yeah. So I printed off these like awful quality fitness pictures of myself, and like in a little envelope, like, okay. And honestly, it was like the WWE ended up calling me a few weeks later. I had like a few phone conversations, but nothing really came of it. And then I did the Arnold Amateur the following spring. And then I was invited to come for a tryout after that. So that was prior to me even training with Lance Storm, prior to any of that. And then it was after that tryout that they're like, we really like your look. We like this about you, but maybe you should like try to, get some training. And I was like, okay. And I was already living in Calgary. And so they put me, kind of pointed me in the direction of Lance Storm. And then, here we are.
Wow. I'm glad you got the whole story versus my version, which was like the cliff notes of
and also funny was just like when I ended up, dating John and moving to Los Angeles, and Shad and John were friends. And then so we would go to movie premieres together with him. He was at our wedding. Like, I've constantly had this kind of, really cool, weird connection with him. So yeah, he's a hero, and that's exactly how we all remember him. So he unfortunately lost his life, but he is forever remembered as that hero.
Yes. Every wrestling fan and hopefully people who knew him personally will always remember him as a hero. So you and John, who keeps changing his last name everywhere he goes. I love that. Like, do you know where that came to be? Are you guys talking about, hey, every time you go somewhere, you should just change your last name?
I can't remember. I want to say that it just kind of happened organically. I don't know. I think it was just because he was, Johnny Nitro. And then it was, I think at one point before that, he was Johnny Blaze. And then it was John Morrison. And then when he was at Lucha Underground, he became Johnny Mundo. But I do want to say, now that I'm thinking about it, that the first place that did that was Impact.
Oh, okay.
He became Johnny Impact. And I think that from there, it kind of escalated to Johnny Defy, Johnny Game Changer, Johnny. So that's definitely, I think that's where it started.
Could I think John and you in Impact would be a great combo. Is that like how Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green are? I think that would be a great combo as well. Is that something we could see in the future?
Well, we have seen it before.
Yeah, in the past. I'm saying in the future now.
You never know. You never know where John is going to pop up. He's taking his time and working on these different film projects right now. We actually have a film that we wrote and starred in and he directed that's finally hitting the film festivals this fall, and a bunch of other things. So you really never know where he's going to show up. But I mean, obviously, I'm sure that everybody, including myself, would love to have him back at Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, I think I was shocked, as many people were, when suddenly he just disappeared off of TV as Mrs. Best Friend. It was very shocking to me as a character.
But a lot of people.
I know. I can imagine in your household it was more shocked than I was at my house going, I'm sorry, what happened? But it happens. But, you did have your WWE run as Frankie Monet. And I think, was that your name you picked, or did someone give that to you?
Contrary to popular belief, it was actually me that picked that name. And everybody seems to have a massive problem with it. And I'm just like, but I liked it. So
it's your name, you get to pick it.
It's a long process. They give you lists of ideas and they want to talk to you about your ideas and stuff. So there's a lot of names thrown around, but ultimately that was the one that won. I like to sound different, be different. I never want to be put in a box or told to, don't want to be called, something that you would expect. So I definitely went there, and Frankie was born.
So did you pitch any ideas when you were there that they were just like, no, thank you?
Not really. I feel like every kind of creative meeting, everyone's like listens to you and stuff. If it comes to fruition is a whole other thing. But that's just kind of the general. No one was ever like, oh my God, that idea is stupid or anything like that. It was never like that. It was always quite positive. But I mean, there's just so many moving parts and so many people that it could be the creative team thinks, oh, that's a really cool idea, but let's put a twist on it. Or, the top doesn't like it at all. And then it never ends up even being spoken of again. There's so many moving parts in WWE. So sometimes it's very difficult to get your idea to even, get a proper look at.
So is there one you could talk about that you were passionate about that they were like, that sounds great, and then never went anywhere?
Well, towards the end, I was really wanting Frankie to be more serious, and I was really pushing to kind of have her be a little bit darker, even staying as a heel, but and I was pitching different colors for outfits and different vibes, and kind of someone who loses themselves in the wanting to be champion, or loses themselves as they're trying to reach a level of perfection, kind of like the ballerina in Black Swan, the movie. So I was trying to kind of bring this kind of crazy, unhinged version of her through, but unfortunately that didn't end up happening, but it is what it is.
I was going to say, because I asked Chelsea Green the same question, and she pitched to be a crazy nun with Seth Rollins. And I was like, I love that idea. I asked Killer Cross the same question. He pitched bring back the corporate ministry. And I was like, I love this, but obviously I don't run a Fortune 500 company on Wall Street. So
and like I came in at that company at a very strange time under different weird circumstances. So, I got lost in the shuffle, I think. And I'm just, it's part of my life. It happened, but it's not the end of everything. And I just take it as a chapter and I'm moving on. So,
yeah. And then, Vince McMahon recently stepping down in the WWE is a huge thing, I think, for wrestling in general, because he's been the guy in charge of that company for, 40 years now. And to me, it's going to be bizarre. Like, do you think that the WWE is going to go up or down, or changes are going to be overnight? Like, do you have any thoughts on a guy who's been the pioneer of the business for so long, now no longer in the business? He's like been the head coach for this team forever.
I mean, I can just look at it as an outsider because I obviously am not there,
right,
and I don't know what has been going on over the last 8 months. I honestly really haven't watched a lot of it at all either. I mean, obviously it was shocking to the wrestling world because this is someone who, you know, made professional wrestling and WWE what it is. I mean, I don't know. I don't really think I can like talk on it that much because I don't know a lot about it. And I don't like drama. I don't want any problems.
I'm not trying to create drama. I'm just saying, hey, the head coach of the team now, who's been only the head coach
I'm
so
excited
long.
to see what Triple H is going to do because Triple H was always, you know, thought of things differently. And you saw what he did with, you know, the black and gold brand of NXT and how he viewed professional wrestling as a whole, sports entertainment. And I'm just excited. I think that it's going to be an interesting thing to watch, even from the outside, to see what happens. And, you know, maybe there'll be some really cool changes. Maybe there won't. I don't know. But having someone at the helm of the ship like Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, I think is going to be a positive thing.
Of course. Just like very positive, NWA 74, 2 days extravaganza. You're on night one. And I think a lot of people, need to tune into this event because NWA has been putting out bangers. Since like Billy Corgan took over the company, I feel like NWA has just been on all cylinders. You know, the pandemic maybe slowed down a little bit, but yet here we are now. Huge event coming up. So like when someone tunes in to watch NWA, like what should they expect when they watch NWA?
I mean, a lot of surprises. I think that this 2-night event of NWA 74 is going to be filled with them. Some of them have been announced already. You know, there's going to be the Burke Invitational with 10 women. Last year, the winner was Chelsea Green. Who is it going to be this year? You know, it's just going to be really exciting, and you're going to see some great hard-hitting professional wrestling. And I'm excited for everyone to join us in St. Louis. And then we're also going to be in Nashville on the, yes, I have notes, 29th, 30th, and 31st for the Skyway Studio tapings of NWA. So if you cannot be in St. Louis, you can absolutely watch it on Fight. And if you can be in Nashville, check us out there.
Outstanding. And then, of course, you involved with Impact Wrestling as well. I feel like them, same thing. They have monthly specials, but sometimes their monthly specials are like bigger than their pay-per-views. So Emergence is coming up, and obviously you have your match, and we have so many other booked matches already. But August 12th, what can fans expect when they watch Impact? Because Impact and NWA, wrestling companies, but not presenting wrestling in the same way at all.
They're presented completely differently, which is what makes it so interesting. You know, like I love that there's different flavors of professional wrestling for everyone. And, you know, at Emergence, it'll be the same thing, hard-hitting, fast-paced. You know, there's going to be X Division action. You know, there's going to be World Heavyweight Champion action. There's going to be everything. And so this is another opportunity to watch your favorites, see some dream matches, and watch myself and Rosemary retain our World Knockouts Tag Team Championships.
Of course. Now, I always ask this question to everybody because I think we all have something in our lives that we're achieving. What are your goals for the year? Because obviously you've accomplished so much already with you're collecting championships left and right. So what is your main goal this year?
My goal for the rest of the year is to continue riding this high that I have been, you know, since coming back and working on these wonderful television projects and just continuing to grow as a performer. And outside of that, I'm going to be launching Loca again in the fall. I'm doing a lot of more acting projects. I'm just looking to grow as a human being, as myself. And I'm super excited for everyone to see the Chic Massacre when it hits these film festivals in the fall for Halloween season. So yeah.
I was going to say, I remember watching one of the Good Brothers specials, and you got blown up by a bazooka, I recall.
Yes. I think it was JTG. JTG did that to me.
Oh God, I love that moment. I that's so funny. And I forget the timing of like when that happened, and then when you joined maybe WWE or Impact, right? It was so close. It was like, did she just get blown up by a bazooka? Like, and then I see you the next week on TV.
Ripped out a luchador spine too, and that was a really fun shoot to do.
That was, yeah. I love those shoots. Seeing it's Stang. Oh God, yeah. They're so funny. Oh, I'm gonna lose it. But thank you so much for being here on NBC's 10 Count. I really appreciate it. Seriously. My accent made me sound like I said your name wrong. Taya Valkyrie, thank you so much for being here on NBC's 10 Count. I had a great time. Folks, We'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.